We have just got to the end of day 26 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 3, Phase 1. We've been listening to the live questioning of Steve Hedley, and like different to usual, rather than someone talking about what he said, I got Steve Hedley actually here. Steve, what do you make of your experience of giving evidence to the Undercover Policing Inquiry?
Well, I said in there, and it's on record, I didn't come here expecting justice. I don't think we'll get justice from this. I came to put on the record the appalling behaviour of the Special Branch and the SDS and the politicians behind them, who allowed women basically to be assaulted under false pretexts, conned in their relationships, had workers blacklisted. And I made the point, I think strenuously at the end, that this creeping authoritarianism is why we've got 7 hunger strikers now. Some of them in the well over 30 days. And in danger of losing their lives for doing nothing other than taking direct action in the style of the suffragettes.
I mean, I think that was incredibly powerful that you named those 7 prisoners for Palestine who are currently under hunger strike. And I think the point you made, that the reason we've got here, the reason we've got into such an authoritarian state where we've got such an extreme clampdown on civil liberties, it was born because of the units like the SDS, criminalizing protest, criminalizing dissent, and making like giving the police open season really on any form of protest.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm not going to make this lightly, but I think we have got in this country now, we are on the verge of a police state, and that state is being driven disgracefully by the Labour Party and Stammer, and it's bleak because it looks like the only opposition he's going to have is going to be the far right in Farage. And we in the left really need to get our act together and pretty quickly, because otherwise this is going to become the norm. People at the minute, we know people at the minute in the medical profession, teachers, I'm one of them, right? We can't work because of our support of people opposing the genocide. Okay, we cannot work. We're forbidden to work because we're supporting people who are opposing the genocide. We're supporting the victims of a genocide, and this country's complicity in it. And you know, I just have to go back to those youngsters on hunger strike, and we went through this in Ireland in 1981. 10 young men died on hunger strike. And this state has got its hands, and Margaret Thatcher at the time had its hands soaked in blood because of that. And we can't allow it to happen again. And people out there, look, if you can't put yourself in the direct action yourself, put a poster in your window, put a Facebook as your put a photograph of the hunger striker as your profile picture. Spread the word, because they're doing the best to keep this out of the media, and we're going to end up with people dying because they're standing up for other people and trying to prevent the genocide. They are acting completely within international law and trying to prevent the genocide, and we cannot let these people die.
Yeah, I think it's really sobering. I mean, so much of what we talk about the inquiry obviously is historical, but these are real world events that are happening right now, and they're so much more important because of the fact that they're happening right now. And like I think the work of all the different direct action groups like opposing the genocide is like the great calling of our time, right? What we've witnessed over the last couple of years that Israel is, I mean, it goes back much further than that, right? Done to Palestinian people is some of the worst things I've ever seen, and like, yeah, responsibility on all of us to find ways to oppose it in whatever way we can. During your questioning, you were taken through a lot of the reports that were done on you by both Mark Jenner, who we'll be hearing from next week, but also Carlo Soraci, who we'll be hearing from next year. And I think you did a fantastic job of like taking apart those reports and just pointing out there's nothing there.
No, there's nothing there at all. I'm an experienced trade unionist. I've held senior positions in the trade union movement. I've had meetings with government ministers. I've also been a local representative. The case that they've got, or the alleged case that they've got, a local representative would have had thrown out in 10 minutes at any disciplinary. They just don't have a case. These people were paid from the taxpayer's purse to sit and smoke drugs, by their own admission, smoke drugs, have affairs with women, and go on the drink. That's what they were paid for. And they couldn't, on all that time, they couldn't even get enough to bring one of us to court because we weren't doing anything illegal.
And I mean, what I would say is also it's not unique to you. All these reports are like this. There's this constant sort of willingness to label people as violent based on very little. I mean, like it seemed mostly it was based on your accent was one of the main reasons you were being characterized as violent.
He had a violent Irish accent. Like what? I thought I had a sort of moderate Irish accent.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it would be a lot funnier if it wasn't so serious.
It was. Sometimes you just had to laugh. You know, it was just like I was allegedly in contact with senior members of Sinn Féin, like Martin McGuinness and Jerry Adams, were coming around for tea or something. Like it was just absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
I mean, I think what these undercover police reports really show us is like kind of a skill in creative writing of making very like mundane things sound very serious. I mean, like for example, your trip to Greece, which was
he went on holiday in Greece. He went on holiday in Greece and attended a trade union conference. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But like that, but this, I mean, it shows really that I mean, this isn't just individual officers doing it off their own bat. This is systemic.
This is the point I was trying to make. This is not just bad apples. We had cases in there where people who had abused women were mentoring other people. So what did they expect? People who had conned women into sexual relationships, even had children with them, fictitious characters, if you like. You know, the woman wasn't consenting. They go to bed with that person. They thought they were somebody else. So they were training. They were mentoring other people. What did they expect? What did they expect?
And I think it's what was really coming to the fore now as we're going through so many of these reports, so many of the writing done by these undercover officers in forms of letters to the women, that there really is a template.
Oh, yeah.
That we're seeing the same phrases crop up. We're seeing the same style of writing crop up. It is mentored. It's, you know, and we particularly see it from the likes of Bob Lambert and from when his time as the undercover to his time as a manager, that the officers who served under him were his acolytes. Yeah. You know, I think that's becoming very clear. Like so, you've given evidence just straight after S, who was the wife of Mark Jenner, and a few 2 days after Alison, who was deceived into an intimate relationship by Mark Jenner. Next week, the next couple of days, have been from Mark Metcalf and Graham Smith, two activists who you knew from when you at the time. From that time, and then next week we'll be hearing from Mark Jenner himself. What are you hoping to hear from Jenner when he finally gets questioned?
I want an apology. I want him to recognise what he's done was not just bad for people like us who he was spying on, but for his own family. His own wife was in there, and my heart went out there. You know, I did. As a human being, see, that woman was deceived for 5 years, and
for the whole of her marriage.
The whole of her marriage, and she was just such a lovely woman, wasn't she? And it was just, you know, the obvious victims of this are the people they spied on, but the other victims are the people that these. Let's say, but they are psychopaths. You would have to be a psychopath to be able to keep up that pretense for those 5-6 years. And they were given a medal. He was proud of the medal he got. He was proud of the medal he got. Yeah, you're having a little reward. You've conned this woman into sleeping with you for 5 years. Have her an award. And he's boasting about it in his statement. What sort of a person is this? You know, no self-awareness or.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think Alison summed up really well when she talked about the upside down world that they created, where people with a moral compass were being like labeled as the baddies, and then those with no moral compass are commended and honored for the work that they do. It's insane. It's insane. You've been following the undercover inquiry like over the last while?
You know what? I haven't really, because it brings up such bad memories, you know, of just things that I wanted to forget. And I even thought about twice about coming here, what I was going to do, what would have achieved, but I wanted to be put on record. So it's just, we know there's going to be no justice, but we want to put on record, and that's really why I came.
I think that's totally understandable. I mean, I think like so many people are being forced to relive traumas that they've experienced, to be taken back to things that have really affected their lives, and constantly being asked, well, how does that make you feel? I mean, I often get very frustrated by the kind of lines that the inquiry takes. I mean, like today for you were being asked about violence. I mean, I lost count of the amount of times you were being asked about like your association with violence. Was this event violent? Was that event violent? What I find particularly frustrating, like especially when it's a matter of public record, it's some public demonstration that you're on. Was there any violence? Well, I don't know. Have a look at the news reports. Have you done no research?
Well, there was certainly violence when actually one of the SDS officers was beaten up by the RUC.
Yeah.
That's the only cooperated bit of violence he could point to, wasn't it? Yeah,
I mean, it is so nuts that like he's he constantly refers to people as violent in his reports, yet has no evidence of it. The only time he produces any evidence of violence is when the IUC beat him up.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because there was no anything we done was done in self-defense. We were there to defend demonstrations, we were there to defend pickets, we were there to defend meetings. So look, I'm not a hero, and the people I'm with weren't heroes. We were just guys who just we didn't want to be extremely violent or anything like that. We just thought people deserved that space, that they have political discussion, political debate without fascists coming along and smashing it up. And that's a fascist tactic. It always has been. They close down other people and they want to take power by controlling the streets, and we can't let them.
Yeah, I think that's so relevant. And it's relevant again today. Now, I mean, we see like this, putting flags on the streets, and the way that the fascists are going back on the streets in a way in which we haven't seen for a few years, and it's back again. And it's that thing of us on the left. We're kind of condemned to fight the same battles over and over.
It's the task of Sisyphus, isn't it? But if we don't do it, then we just let them run rampage, and we will be marginalised, and we won't be able to organise. So we've got to do it.
Yeah, no, I think you made that point really powerfully today. I think you were a great witness. I think you came across as incredibly credible. It was remarked by some of the people who were watching that whatever Mitting thinks of you, he's going to be left in no doubt of your honesty and authenticity as a witness. I mean, that came across very strongly. You made him laugh quite a few times, which I wouldn't say is that usual.
Well, I mean, some of the questions I was asked: would you have brought this person in for breakfast if you were going to? If you knew it was an undercover copper? Yeah, of course, I would have given 2 extra sausages. Like, well, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a nonsense. Yeah, and I mean, they're looking to get like certain quotes. Clearly, I mean, that's the impression you get.
They wanted me to say something stupid, and I wasn't going to give them that. And I just thought they were trying to bait me. This nonsense about violence is nonsense about being Irish, and being Irish necessarily means you're violent. You've got an Irish accent. Yes, I have. Well done. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be an Irish Republican as well. I'm proud to be an Irish Republican, and I'm proud to support the Palestinian struggle, and I'm proud to be a trade unionist. And so what have I done wrong? Tell me where I've done wrong. What is against the law? Nothing.
Yeah, no, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Cheers for coming on and doing this for us, Steve. I don't normally get the witness to come and talk afterwards, but it was really good. Cheers for coming down. And anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Free Palestine, support the hunger strikers. Every one of you listen to this, do something for the hunger strikers this weekend. As Bobby Sands said, whatever you do, you can, be it little or big. Everybody's got their part to play in the struggle.
Yeah, amen to that. Thanks for following us. We'll be back again tomorrow. Cheers for now.